What's good, everybody? You're watching Don't Renege, and I'm your host, Mind the Water, where we interview black businessmen and women over a friendly game of cards. Today, we have Michael Whitfield, better known as Michael B. Whit. Let's give it up for him, y'all.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? Glad to be here, man.
I'm glad you're here, man. Glad you're here.
Appreciate it.
Now, we gonna get into some of these spades, man. Well, let me ask you a
Don't
question
hurt me
real
too
quick.
bad. Not too bad.
When did you realize music was your thing?
Oh man, that's why that's a tough question.
Mm.
Like really, that's a tough question because you're not technically supposed to be able to remember anything before 5 years old. But like as far as I've always known, I've been around and engulfed in music, so it's always just been a part of me. And so I know just from like looking at pictures and stuff like that, I've been around music since I tell the story a lot that I was on my dad's lap because my dad's a musician as well, and he would just have me on his lap playing drums. You know what I'm saying?
So you started off on the sticks.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how it works. Most musicians start off on the drums
because it's making noise.
Yeah,
you're just looking at the drums.
Yeah, you can just grab anything. You can have your pots, you can have your pots and your pans, and yeah, man, that's how it started. Yeah, like I said, man, don't hurt me too bad, man. I haven't been playing a good game of spades in a long time.
Don't say that stuff now. Don't say that stuff.
But man, so I'll say theoretically around 4 or 5 years old, been involved in music. Had my first band probably around about 8 or 9 when I started elementary school. I had a band. Yeah. Yes, to the street. Down home spades. If that. But as a church, I had to play Uno. Alright, cool. Alright, cool.
Now, even though we can't find it on the map anymore, they did some things, to flush some things out. For better or worse, you love it or you don't, Centerville, Illinois, man.
Right. It's home.
That's home?
Yeah.
Explain to us about home, man.
Well, like you just said, it doesn't exist anymore. Nah, man, but that's Centerville, Illinois, a little small town, adjacent to Cahokia, Illinois.
Yeah, Cahokia.
All the same thing, pretty much the same thing. Cahokia, Allenton, all 3 little small villages that basically combine and make one.
Would you say that that's the ghetto, the hood, the bottoms?
I mean, it all depends on who you're talking to, right? It's even
some people it's just home.
Yeah, well, true, right? But with it being a small village and it being filled with so many different sides, you can look at it at so many different perspectives, right? Because originally, if you talking to somebody like me, right? You see me, I'm brown, I got the cowboy hat, right? I'm able to, I live on both sides of the track, right? Mm-hmm. So to me, when you say ghetto, I automatically think ghetto is the same thing as hillbilly or redneck at the same time, right? But no matter how you swing it, both of them, we call it, for lack of better words, you might say in a down home family, we might say something that's called niggering, right? Where you put like aluminum foil on the antennas, right?
And the vice grips.
Yeah.
The duct tape. Niggery.
Right. And in the same voice, in the same token, you could say something is hillbilly or redneck because they use the same aluminum foil on the antennas of the TVs, right? And so
I seen a wire hanger keeping a tire inside. Like, that's crazy.
It's the same deal. And look, people don't realize just how close the cultures are because of the lack of communication between the two sides. Well, you're on this side of the tracks and you're on this side of the tracks, but really, man, it's all pretty much the same. But to your question, man, okay, I'm taking that. Centerville can sometimes be considered country because that's where all the cowboys live in Centerville. You know, it has its hood parts too. You know, it has its just standard, I guess, quote unquote, suburbia type songs inside of it as well. So, yeah, I just call it home because it's awesome.
Exactly. My grandmother, grandfather from there. My great grandmother had a house on Russell, right behind Centerville Projects.
Yep.
You know,
Exactly,
so that's where the Roberts clan is from.
Okay.
You know, so yeah.
Right on. So they were probably out there when it was all like when they had the Cahokia Downs, right?
Yeah.
When they had the racetrack and everything out there.
Yeah. My grandfather actually worked at the racetrack, man.
Really?
He did.
Where your grandfather and them, where are they originally from?
They're originally from Mississippi. I'm not sure exactly what part. I mean, my mother's father and my mother's mother are both from Mississippi. Different cities of Mississippi, but both from Mississippi.
If I was a gambler, man, I'd probably say my granddad might be responsible for your people coming up. My grandfather was a land baron from Mississippi, and he's responsible for a major influx of folks coming up from Mississippi.
Kudos.
Yeah, that's cool. Especially, particularly in the Centerville, Cahokia areas too.
I feel that. That's what's up.
I'm gonna take a chance on that one.
Growing up a PK, how does that influence you right now?
Well, just I guess what you take from it is, I guess, structure, stability. I guess those are kind of the same thing, or one is a synonym of the other. Structure, stability, humbleness, which takes you a long way. Character building early on, it helps with that. It helps you navigate through different places. It helps you to bridle your tongue in some places.
Yeah.
When you want to let it go, and just always having that faith with you. Always being a silver lining in everything you do.
And you're the youngest of how many?
5 sisters, 1 brother. Yeah.
Man, and your family Whitfields, right?
Yeah.
Pastor, Bishop,
Whitfields and Beverly, no titles like that. Just
Whitfield.
No prestigious titles like that. Yeah.
Sometimes titles, that's for them. You know the real man.
Yeah.
You know, titles, that's for them. That's for them. It's on you, bro.
It's on me. Oh, good. I'll take that. I gotta make sure ain't no mirror or nothing behind me so you don't see what's going on. Okay, good. I got a hand. So it turned out to be all right. Don't rush me. I'm organizing now.
It's on you first anyway, man.
Okay. You got somebody that don't like losing and ain't played this game in a while, so
it's cool.
We might be in here fighting by the time this thing is over. It's all good.
Come on, man, because you studying all day.
I mean, I'm just saying, I gotta get myself together. I can't go out like that.
Right.
See, that's what kind of game he like to play. He wanna rush.
I ain't trying to rush, man. All right, go ahead.
I'm trying to make sure my books is my books. I want to count my books, make sure I got my stuff together. See, he want to be reneging and stuff like that later on down his line. Here we go. All right. Are we ready?
It's on you, man.
All right. Let's see what happens here.
10 hours later.
All right.
For real, bro?
Yeah, man. That's all I can do is cut you.
That's cool, man. That's cool. Go ahead, man. Get it off. I know where you going. I'm finna cut too, so go ahead. I already know.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Okay.
right? Yeah, right there. Well, I tell you, I already knew where you were going. I was cutting too, man.
Okay. It's a low down, dirty game.
Dirty dog.
You want to play a dirty game? I'm gonna let you take that. Have fun with that one.
Country music.
Country music.
Why?
Other than the fact that I'm country.
Come on, man. Everybody watching this. Everybody watching this. See, why country music?
Because I'm a fan. First of all, I'm a fan of country music. Right. I grew up listening to country music. Right. Country music still is one of the only genres that has remained true to a certain degree.
It hasn't switched up.
To its origin, right?
It hasn't switched
It's
up.
still, you still have the steel guitar playing in there. You still have the banjo. You still have the fiddle. You still have real musicians playing it. The only genre I could say that actually is running concurrent with country music is gospel music.
I was thinking jazz. I don't know why I was
Jazz,
thinking
jazz also.
Okay.
But even jazz is also getting into a little space to where it's kind of like so much of a fusion where you kind of lose it a little bit. But yeah, something about that.
I mean, because there was so many other. It's on me. It was so many other genres. I'm sure you probably could have went into.
I've done pretty much all the genres.
And it was just daunting, country, you know?
Mm-hmm.
All right. But then when I heard it, I was like, okay.
It helps to bridge the gap. I get to still tell stories. And that's my writing style. I'm not as lewd as like a lot of the young these R&B artists, these songs and stuff these days. I mean, it's as lewd as rap used to be.
It's the grimy rap.
Right, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, which is cool, you know, because I bump some of that every now and then as well when I want to bump that. I don't have anything against it. But I know it's for me, what people expect from me, that wouldn't fly, you know what I'm saying? Because I ain't, you know, I'm not that lewd kind of guy.
But don't get me wrong. I don't feel like you really put out music that people expect from you anyway. You know what I'm saying? As long as I've known you, you've always been, you know, an individual that stays in your own lane or creates a lane for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But,
have been. Always have been. Yep. You're right about that. Yeah, but I just know, like, if I'm ever to want to come out rapping or singing some stuff that's too hot for TV, I got so many people that are ready to, you know, I don't want to let down, for one.
Okay.
For two, you know, like I said, I come from like you pointed out, I come from the church background. You know what I'm saying? So I can't just let it all hang out like that, you know.
Mm-hmm. They've been letting it out, man.
I mean, hey, they have. I'll take that, bro.
Mm-hmm. So that's what it's about, man. Taking books.
Yeah,
You take all day to get yours.
I know. Here we go. Let's see if that walks.
Camp Jackson. I know the street.
You know about it.
I know the street.
You already know.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Where did that
Ask me a question you already know the
Where
answer
did
to.
that come from? Where did that come from, man?
Dude,
I know you have a creative mind, but like, where did that come from?
Dude, honestly, I was just sitting in the studio and I thought, for selfish reasons, I said, man, I just want to make a song about home. You know, I just wanted to make a song about home. I didn't expect it to be anything that everyone would relate to, like they did. Surprisingly, man, I was just, for selfish reasons, I was just in my feelings, which country music allowed you to really express yourself when you're in your feelings.
But Ray Charles said, it's the stories, man.
Right. It's
how the weight of the world just knocks you down.
It's the stories, man. And that's what it was. The song was just a story. I was just talking about where we live, you know, where we come from. Main drag.
If you were just a day out there, this is what happened.
The song sums it up.
Yeah.
And tells you, it gives you the picture of what it used to be versus what it is now.
When the bus turns around at the corner, man, I know that bus. I know the corner it turned around. And you just painted that picture, man. Like that was clear as day. It was just like, man,
to live it is to know it. How many times you walk up down Camp Jackson or go visit Camp Jackson and you bump into somebody that you know from your past or something? You almost can't
every
go.
time.
You almost can't go
Every
down
time.
Camp Jackson without seeing somebody you know from a long time ago. Yep, so that's what it was. I was feeling lonesome and longing for home, and that came out like it did. So many people related to it. So
What you got for them hearts, man?
for those hearts, man, I can't do nothing.
I know you ain't got no love, man. I know you ain't got no love.
I can't do nothing with you in those hearts, but I'll just have to take that like that. You know, I have to take that.
So it's just not a thing that you're doing. This ain't no gimmicks, no tricks, nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
You actually got a horse stable, man.
Yeah, dude.
How many horses you got?
Right now, we have 7 horses, which is a downside from where we came from.
Yeah. And I can't even remember.
It's kind of like the music thing.
It's like I was born on a horse, man.
It's kind of like the music thing, man. And even when we just didn't have any horses on the premises, it was like we always find some kind of way to get someplace where there were horses. Whether you were at a rodeo, visiting a rodeo, or you were at your parents, like like my dad, he worked at Zero Copper, and they would have this like little family fun fair where they bring the horses out, and all of the little carnival games. That would be the only thing you'd be interested in being on.
Because like I know the generations before us, a lot of them guys were introduced to horses.
Mm-hmm.
And then the generations before those,
Mm-hmm.
we were the cowboys.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Big fact.
Big
fact.
I mean, talking
The
about
originators, the origin.
back in Oklahoma and Texas, like we were the first.
Yeah.
Louisiana.
Yeah.
Shoot, Georgia too. Like, but I don't know why that story's not being told. You get bits and pieces here and there.
Well, you know why it hasn't.
Yeah. Okay.
You know why it hasn't been told. It's like a lot of stuff historically gets painted over.
True.
And you don't get the credit for.
Is it on me?
Yeah, it's on you. Let's see if those 7 times work. You just had a handful of spades, didn't you?
What's some more love? What's some more love?
Jeez.
He gonna have to throw off this time. Yeah, I'm
gonna have to.
That boy spending that money. He's spending that money. Woo!
I'm doing everything I can right now to stay in.
Right now.
Boom. Let's go here.
We don't go there, man.
You gotta throw out another spade.
Okay. There was a period of time after high school where Mike kind of ran away.
I didn't run away.
Okay.
Y'all can see me. I got invisible for a minute.
You did.
For good reasons.
What did you bring back?
Man, just style, confidence to be different. More confidence to be different. Because I think I was always.
You were a militant.
I was both. I was militant. I was different. I was halfway a loner, but halfway popular at the same time. I think I couldn't.
It's because the city is.
Yeah.
It's a family.
It's a concentrated. It's
so,
a concentrated, family-orientated village. But yeah, I brought back some culture, some creative power. I brought back leadership skills because I've seen some stuff. There you go. My goodness.
You seen some stuff? Tell us what you seen.
Seen some stuff, experienced some stuff that I never experienced before. And what you got over there? How many books you have?
Hey man, it's books, bro. Tell your story.
So why? This is all you, right? Go ahead.
I know. I'm waiting on you, man.
All right, what was your question? I didn't even let you disturb me because I told you that's the twitch. I hate losing.
What did you bring back when you ran away?
Okay, yeah. Man, yeah, just
what I noticed.
Culture swag.
What I noticed was when you came back, you were way more confident. I'm Mike. This is Mike. Accept me or don't. It don't matter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There was no more walking with your head down. Not saying that you were, but it was. You know what I'm saying? You
just elevated.
You walked into
Everything
yourself.
Elevated. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? People say you found yourself. I don't know about if you found yourself. You were always there. You just had to discover it.
Yeah. It elevated what was already there. Like I always, walk with some level of confidence that was just instilled in me. But it was like the ownership part I didn't possess, like the fact of or the trend setting part, like to where it's like I'm doing this and y'all gonna not only like it, y'all gonna follow what I'm doing. I came with that kind of vibe when I came back. And you get that because you see how advanced or so far advanced other cities are in comparison to where we come from, right? So while I'm out and like you said, out in parts of high school and out of high school, I'm out in Baltimore, I'm staying in Jersey, I'm staying in Florida, and I'm seeing teenagers that are my age that are owning homes, owning vehicles, owning businesses. That young, right? And to come back home, it was a shock to me because it's like all of your peers around you are kind of like all doing the same thing, which isn't a whole lot of everything. You know what I'm saying? But it's just because we didn't have that much exposure.
Or they're doing what their parents were doing.
Yeah.
If your dad was a cop, now you're a cop.
Yeah.
If he worked for the steel mill, now you work for the steel mill.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of that going on.
Yeah.
It's almost like you didn't get to walk into your individuality.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, this is what we do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So and it's just lack of exposure. It's like a kid never knows. A kid can never describe to you what a beach is like in full detail unless they go and visit. You
can see the picture all day. You can see it on Instagram and YouTube, but actually being there with the sand between your toes.
You can never tell me what that feeling is like if you've never been outside of Camp Jackson, Route 3, Church Road, Bond to 157, or the smell, or what it sounds like when you hold a seashell to your ear. You can't describe that stuff in its totality unless you've experienced it. So what I brought back was certain experiences, and I was able to bleed those on and pass those on to people that were around me. I'll take that. That's all I got.
You take that.
Yeah, you wash me.
I still got it. It's just one though.
You wash me.
It's just one.
Rack them up, run it again. Run it again. Yep.
Being a husband and a father in today's society, how does, you gotta be a dedicated husband, you gotta be a dedicated father, but you wanna be dedicated to your music and your craft as well.
Mm-hmm.
How do you balance that?
See, now that goes back full circle to what we talked about in your very first question. It might not have been your very first question, but how growing up PK has helped you.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, like, structure. Man, I can't shuffle this stuff.
Come on, man.
Man, I can't shuffle this stuff, dog.
You need me to hold your hand.
No, I need you to touch me.
You got me. Come on.
Oh my God. Let's run that again. I can't shuffle these cards, man. Let's try this again. Let's see the card.
All right. Okay.
It's coming back. No, not really. It's all good though. We gonna make it. We gonna make it.
But man.
Yeah, just so balance, man. Balance.
I would say that you grew up in a house with a mother and father. That's always a blessing. And not just a mother and father, but a mother and father who wanted to be there. You know what I'm saying? Who wanted to raise kids. A husband who wanted to be a husband. A wife who wanted to be a wife. You know what I'm saying?
I just don't believe
That. This dude that started bleed shuffling.
I don't know.
What in the world?
I don't know how that happened. You know, I think I picked a hang.
Bro, as much as you be strumming, you should have metal. Yeah, these fingers should be stone like,
You know,
come on, man.
I kid you not, man. Out of maybe just anxiousness, I think I might have picked a hangnail while I was right here, while I was talking to you, and that thing just said, "All right, I'm gonna start gushing out right here, right now."
This year, you were one of the main acts for Taste of St. Louis. Man, how did that even happen? Like, you know, we don't really get a lot of love on that.
Right.
We don't really get a lot of love on that.
Oh man, I think it was just really the art speaking for itself, and
You open that door.
yeah, and making sure that every time I had an opportunity, I showed up.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I get that.
And that's another thing that I brought back from being gone.
Mhm.
It's like you ain't always gonna get no opportunities, right? So once you get an opportunity, you gotta rock it.
You gotta rock it.
You gotta rock it because you're not promised another one. So I made sure that my mission was this year. Every opportunity I'm presented with,
You rocking it.
I make sure they remember who I am,
That's what's up.
and it's paid off. And you know, the years of just perfecting my craft, perfecting what I do is paying off. You know, the music is undeniable.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And every time I go in and make a song, that's my mission.
What I notice is you don't sound like you're new or you shouldn't be doing it. You know what I'm saying? Or you're guessing or finding your way as you grow.
Unsure.
It's like you're there. You got it.
Right.
You know? Breaking
This is
into
horrible. This is horrible. Who invented cutthroat?
Man, this Spades, baby. This Spades.
God.
This Spades, man.
Okay. My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Man, you good, man. You cool.
All right, I'll take that.
You got a dish. Man, that's what it's about, man.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
Yeah. Okay. I see what this is. I see what you're doing.
Breaking into
Cutthroat is his way of cheating. Use a cheat. Nah, I'm joking.
you actually made it to the indie country charts.
Mhm.
I mean, how rewarding was that? How rewarding was that, man?
I mean, dude. Look, it all happened in a blink of an eye. Like I said, the song that the song that jumped
What
off,
was the song?
Cam Jackson, right?
Yeah.
And it's the song, you know, you hear you hear that line a lot, like if you watch videos of like different celebrities on YouTube and stuff like that, and they always had that same story of how, man, it was the song that I ain't even like that jumped off and did,
That's
you know,
what it
these
was.
marvelous things and opened up so many doors. Now, I'm not saying I didn't like the song Cam Jackson, but what I said, and I say all the time, was it was wrote for selfish reasons, right? It was written to soothe that lonesome feeling that I felt, right? And just being unaware of how the song made everyone else feel, even folks that weren't from Cahokia couldn't point to Cahokia on a map, you know, if you showed it to them with a magnifying glass. It resonated with them, right? Because every small town is every small town, right, in USA.
There's a
And
small
so-
town everywhere. it's like when I travel anywhere, being from this area, it's like, okay, East St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go somewhere, it's like, man, this look just like East St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
Got the same vibe, it's like, man.
Yep. There's a town like yours everywhere, right? And so, I didn't expect it to do what it did, right? And because the fans loved it so much and it resonated with so many people and it crossed so many cultural lines, because it's like, okay, I do country music. So, let's not kid anybody. We know that predominantly Caucasian persuasions, they run country music.
Sure.
And, it's okay. But originally it didn't always start that way. Because country music, the heart of country music was a jumbo pot, a melting pot of everything. It was a melting pot of the gospel, the blues, the Delta blues, and the Appalachian, singing and
because like gospel, you heard like they kind of go hand in hand a little bit.
Hand in hand. And so what it did is it crossed all the genres. I had, my Caucasian fan base that absolutely loved it. And then surprisingly, I had a lot of the African American culture tagging on to the song, like, man, this resonates. I can listen to country music when you sing it. And that's what let me know that confirmed it within myself, that it's like, I'm kind of like the Paul of country music. Like, no cap. Like, where I'm able to just be all these different things in all these places and help merge it, help be like a bridge,
How rewarding is that for African American person to be like, man, I can listen to your country music.
Mm-hmm. That's the mission. Because if I can get them to listen to my country music and
they probably never listen to country.
Then they've never listened to it. That's just gonna open the door for them to listen to more country, and it doesn't have to necessarily be mine, because I don't have to be necessarily the greatest writer of country music by a long shot. But it definitely opens up the door for you to listen to some of the giants in country music that write better songs than I do, Brad. I love being able to bridge the gap. I love being able to show people the similarities between both cultures, because I think that's what we need in this world today. We need to be able to see the identity of each other inside of each other. You get what I'm saying? So then there would be less violence towards one another,
We actually can sit at the table and eat together.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Less brutality. If I can see and understand you more, then I won't infringe on your privacy. I won't inflict pain on you. I won't hurt you. I won't do this to you. And I think that's the principle of loving your neighbor.
True.
Right? If I don't see you as my neighbor, then I'll be careless with how I treat you. But if I know that you're my neighbor, I'm gonna treat you differently because I know that I have to see you. I have to be with you. We have to work together.
That's biblical when the Bible talks about loving your neighbor as yourself. Like, your neighbor isn't someone that just lives next door. You know what I'm saying? Your neighbor is your community.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
That's
exactly
what it is, man.
So that's the mission. That's the goal. If I can get you to see this person here as your neighbor, maybe you won't rob from them, or maybe you as an official or an authority won't shoot this person because you suspected them for this, that, and the third. So yeah, that's what it's about. And so, is my play?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, we're in the Hearts game. Okay. Boom. I'll let you take that. Let you take that.
Let me?
Yeah, let you take that.
Alright.
You gotta sacrifice them.
You gotta sacrifice for the greater good, huh? What about that right there? You gonna let me take? You got that 10 gonna walk?
That 10 can't walk. That's my sorry. That can't walk. Now, here's what we're gonna do, right? I'm gonna make you come get me.
You gonna let me come get you? Okay.
I'm gonna make you come get me if you can. so I can get a book out. Well, no. We'll take that. It's coming with me, buddy.
It's coming with you, all right.
That is coming with me, buddy. Finger bleeding on. That is coming with me.
For the last time, all right.
Okay.
What you got now?
Go back to it while I patch my finger up.
So what's next for Michael B. Whitney?
Well, 2022, I just finished my last show of the season of 2021.
Okay.
Hopefully my last show, unless somebody calls me.
So Christmas or New Year's Eve,
Right,
something like
right. Just gearing up to release my EP. I hope to have that out in the first quarter, which is January to March-ish. Or March or May, however you want to classify. I got a bunch of big singles to release between January 1 until March. Some good collaborations with some folks down in Tennessee. Oh my goodness. Why in the world would you do that? Why?
You out of gas, man.
gas.
You out of gas, man.
I'm
You can't be out of gas, man. You can't be out of gas, baby.
What did you do? What did you just do?
You can't be out of gas, man. Hold up, bro. You know you just redeemed, bro. You know you just redeemed, man.
See,
you just redeemed.
talking to you, and oh my God, yeah.
You know you
All
just
right,
redeemed.
yeah.
Y'all see that? Y'all see that? I ain't even gonna count it against you, man.
No, go ahead.
I ain't even
play
gonna count it.
Play it fair. Play it fair.
Yeah,
That's all.
the book is a book.
Yeah.
Rittenhouse. Totally exonerated. I mean, not even one charge. Not one.
Yeah.
It's crazy because I knew it wasn't gonna go our way. Whatever way people feel like our way is, you know what I mean. I thought it was gonna be a pat on the hand, a little jail time, maybe a year and a day, and some fines.
Oh, that kind of pat.
I thought that's what it was gonna be, which still doesn't give us any justice.
Right.
But nothing. He actually got to go home.
I'm surprised that you were surprised.
Because I thought the pat on the hand. I thought spank on the hand. Hey, buddy, year in a day, fines, go home. But to scot-free?
Yeah, I mean, I knew that he would be completely exonerated from that, just based off of so many technicalities, right? And one of
I'm tired of videos being technicalities.
Yeah, I mean, true, but like in talking to somebody,
what was your mindset? What was your thought process? They don't ask us these questions.
Yeah, true. But then again,
how did you feel at this moment? Were you? We're not asked those questions. We do not get the opportunity to answer those questions.
Yeah, because like I said, again, folks still quiet as kept. And I know it's unpopular opinion, but to a certain degree, you're still not looked upon as equal citizen, right?
True.
And if they're still not able to identify, you just completely watched me today with that. Without being able to see yourself in that person, you're not going to ask them. Like, do you ask your pet for, for anything? Fufu, can I open up the fridge and get a drink? No. Or Fufu, how do you feel today? You don't really do that. So to a certain degree, you're still looked upon in that manner, right?
True.
So you have that outlook of it. No, they're never gonna ask you how you felt about whatever situation you were going. They never going to look at it as, oh, you were suffering from mental illness, which mental illness has been the hot button topic for 2021, I believe. Because we've all discovered.
Mental illness is one thing, but I feel like it's post-trauma.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
I think that
it's PTSD for sure.
I think that every black man that grew up in America has a form of PTSD.
Absolutely.
I always talk about how Caucasian men would never understand the feeling we feel when the police gets behind us. We could be totally legit.
Yeah.
He don't even have to turn his lights on.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that we seen him come behind us, you know what I'm saying? First of all, we don't want nothing to do with you at all.
Right.
We don't want nothing to do with you at all. I just want to go home. I'm just trying to make it home. I could be tired. I could be amped up. It could be just a nice day outside. I'm just ready to go home. As soon as I see you, you get that feeling.
Yeah.
And I know you do.
It's a paralyzing fear that comes.
You know what I'm saying?
You could be perfectly in the right or whatever it is you're doing, but you know that certain folks, sometimes people make mistakes.
And nobody taught us
judgment.
this feeling.
Yeah.
Nobody taught us, hey man, you're supposed to feel like this. No.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think nobody has taught us that directly, but I think indirectly, some of these things
prepare us.
Yeah, some of these things are learned behaviors because we see it so much in the media.
So much.
Our art forms, although we're portraying stories that we've seen, you know what I'm saying? These are our uncles that have experienced this stuff. But how often, like, if you were molested as a kid, do you want to really sit up and watch shows about people getting molested? You don't really want to do that. So it's kind of like we have to curb our appetite for what we see with our eyes too, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, we've already experienced it. Let's not watch it, And what we do, we go and make all of our films about it. All of our films about us going up the interstate, trafficking drugs, and getting pulled over.
All the top TV shows exploit the black community.
Absolutely.
In a big way.
Absolutely. So we have to be mindful of that as well in our art forms, right? Yeah. And that goes to that's where we have the responsibility in terms of culture, right? My music has to show us something different. What you provide through your media channels has to show us something different. Like you're showing entrepreneurs. That's something that we don't get to see every day.
You use the word entrepreneur, and I kind of stray away from that. Because a lot of times when I hear entrepreneur, it's always a black face. But when you hear businessman, you see the Caucasian face or the white face. You don't really see businessmen when they talk about us. You always see entrepreneur. I don't know if it's done on purpose or anything like that, but it's kind of like, why can't we be businessmen and women? Why do we have to be labeled as entrepreneurs? Now, I understand that entrepreneurs by definition is someone who's seen an opportunity and advanced in it. I understand it. And that is what we do a lot of the time. But why can't we just be businessmen?
So I guess I would sling the question back at you as to, who sets those, those limitations on or who commands the vocabulary as to what we should be, or labeled as, or what's the label for, I don't see a problem with being considered an entrepreneur because sometimes the entrepreneur does something different than a businessman. You can work in the office and have a boss and be a businessman. The guys that work on Wall Street, they're businessmen, but they answer to someone in our office. Yeah. Entrepreneur, to me, I feel like that's please, if you're creating something, if you're advancing culture, if you're finding a hole inside of the economy and you're filling it with something that only you can provide, wear that. That's how I feel about it.
Is it on me?
Yeah, it's on you.
We got one more card, man. We still had a spade, huh?
Yeah, I had a handful of little spades that could all be eaten up, but yeah, I ain't enough like capital.
No, me being a God-fearing man, I'm always about giving God time. So when's the last time you gave God some time?
Man, you want the raw story? You want the raw honesty? I've dealt with a lot of hard issues over the past couple years. I feel like I talk to God daily, just like a friend. But as far as like on my face, in the closet alone, well, I guess most of the time I talk to him daily. You know what I'm saying? I just think I've had a revamp on what should be classified as my alone time. A long time, so for so many generations, has just been rolled out as, oh, you have to do it this way. You have to be at this church. You have to be at this place at this certain time. And I think for me, these last few years have taught me that it doesn't necessarily have to be the way I say our religious sects have taught us to spend or give time to God. I feel like every time I'm walking, every time I'm making a decision, I'm making it, with Him or under His eyes, So yeah.
Because not just praying and getting into His Word, but walking in His vision. Like trees give God time when they're being a tree.
When they're being a tree, that's what they're designed.
You know what I'm saying? So when I'm actually doing what God designed for me to do, or the vision He has in front of me, I'm giving Him time. I'm giving Him my time.
Yeah.
Yes, I got down on my face. Yes, I got into some word. But the Bible talks about faith without works is dead. Yeah, you're doing all of these things, but where is it? Like this right here that I'm doing, this is me walking in the faith.
And
I was fearful about this at first. Am I cut out for this? I pitched this to you about a year ago, maybe more. You know what I'm saying?
You know what's funny? And what these past 2 years have challenged all of us to do? It has challenged all of us to redefine how we are in relationship with God, how we outwardly express it, how we inwardly express it. Because not every church, but a lot of churches, they lost their identity when they lost the ability to go into a service. They lost their identity. So it opened up so many eyes. It was like, okay, what are we if we're not able to go here and do this?
And I'm not trying to cut you off. What it showed was a lack of faith.
Exactly.
It's like all these years, God is more powerful than this. He's more powerful than that. He healed me from cancer. Healed me from this. COVID come. We can't even fathom, God being more powerful. Man, where was all that faith at? You was just talking about all that faith. I'm gonna talk to the camera. You was just talking about all that faith. Then when COVID come, you threw your faith away. That's why the Bible says in the last days shall I find faith. It's the faith He's looking for that ain't there.
That's perspective. That puts some stuff in perspective. And granted, there's a lot of ways you can spin that wheel. I looked at it as like it was a true reckoning. I thought these past 2 years have definitely been necessary. The way that they rolled out, the way that it has sat people down. So many people we've lost a lot of people along the way. And that's very unfortunate.
That's very unfortunate.
We all houses have been touched to a certain degree.
To a certain degree, yeah. Most definitely.
It seems like everybody knows someone that has gone on from COVID, or they've had COVID. Yeah. So I'm not saying it's a good thing in that matter, but there's always growth after resistance. You know what I'm saying? The way you launch an arrow forward is by pulling it back, right? And so we had these past, exactly. So these past 2 years, we've all had to pull back, and you've seen so many people come out exploding with so many new things. There's so many new millionaires that have been made just because of this, because they found what they needed to be doing. They found their identity.
Sit down.
They found their identity when in the quiet time. They found their identity in the eye of that storm, right? And so
You actually had to sit down.
yeah,
Shut up.
yeah, and just think of like some of the just in airways, in business, in religion, like churches that were not fully developed are now in a place to where they're developed to where they can, okay, if something happens again, we got broadcasting systems, we got payment gateways and all of this different stuff. And nobody was talking about payment gateways and stuff.
And those things are very important because of the time that we're in now. But ain't nothing like going to church, man.
Nothing like it. But
It's nothing like being in the building.
There's nothing.
Feel yourself to commune together, man. Like,
There's
like this camaraderie right here. Ain't nothing like this.
being
bro.
able to see and being able to
We could have did this through FaceTime or whatever, but ain't nothing like this. You know.
But now let me ask you this question though, because I have to move the chess piece your way, right? So, but when you think of communion, do you just completely just hone into just the brick and mortar building of an actual church, or could it just be like we're doing right now? Is this fellowship? Would you consider this fellowship?
Well, see, fellowshipping is one thing, but actually being in a place with fellow saints. I remember going to the National Convocation for the first time, and I never seen church on a big scale. You know, churches has always been minute. You know, little church here, little church there. Even mega churches, but on a big scale, it was like I had never seen church on a big scale.
On a national level.
And it blew me away. You know what I'm saying? It blew me away. So the brick and mortar buildings, everybody said, well, the church ain't the building, it's the people. True, but where do they worship? You know? Ain't nothing like that place to worship, man. You know, like there ain't nothing like that place to watch a baseball game. Ain't nothing like that place to watch a football game. Ain't nothing like that place to eat, like for Thanksgiving and Christmas. Ain't nothing like that table. You know what I'm saying?
That's perspective. That's perspective.
So
That's perspective.
well, that's my time with Michael B. Witt. Thank Michael B. Witt for coming out, man. Oh yeah. And remember, you guys, give God some time, because without him, there is no time. Blessings and much love to you.
Now, pass his finger. Right on, man. Appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
Hey, man, it's been a long time.